partnering up with the likes of Triple H and Ric Flair, becoming the youngest world heavyweight champion in history, defeating legend after legend, and having one of the brightest futures in the WWE are just some of the many accomplishments of my guest at this time. He'll be on hand next March as the stars of WWE SmackDown invade the Westpac Stadium in Wellington. He is the legend killer, Randy Orton. Randy, how are you?
Good, Dion. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, and thanks for joining me today. You returned to SmackDown just over 4 months ago. Are you enjoying being back on that brand?
Yeah, that's where I started out, of course, and it's great to be back. I miss some things about Raw, like the fact that it's live and everything, but as far as being on SmackDown, I think it was a good move for me as far as my career goes, because it kind of gave me another group of guys to work with and learn from, and a little bit more of giving me the reins, I think, on SmackDown, because there's fewer top guys, I think, and everyone's kind of, it's like a pack of wolves going for that last steak, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all really competitively trying to, make this show as great as it can be.
Are you a fan of the Rasta Split?
I think it's good for business. I think that it's hard to tell what's going to happen, too, like, after the different drafts, like going week to week like they did last time, I think was a good way to take advantage of that, interesting element, of who's going to get picked this week, and drawing it out for that month. But, I think that it's good for some reasons and bad for others, but mainly good. I think switching up the rosters is a good way to create more angles and more things that people haven't seen yet.
It must be great fun getting to work with your dad. How's that working out?
It's great. Like I was talking about earlier with somebody, it's one of those things where he was real proud of me, getting started, and then, becoming the youngest world champion ever, and just things like that he got to see his son do really made him proud, and for him to be now in the ring with me, I can, I'm kind of getting those feelings towards him. I'm proud of my father, which I think it's rare, to be in that kind of situation. It's very rare. What can I say? We're professional wrestlers, father and son, out on TV together every week. It doesn't get any weirder than that. And it's definitely a plus right now in my life. I just actually got engaged as well.
Oh, congratulations.
About a month ago. Thank you. So, for my father to get signed again with the WWE now and have that income, it's great. It's great all around.
What's the best piece of advice your dad's given you about the industry?
Well, when I first got signed, he said, keep your mouth shut, your ears open. Just learn from everybody around you. And that's pretty much what I did, and I got lucky starting up with Triple H and Ric Flair there for about a year and a half, where I learned, I had a plethora of knowledge thrown my way. It was amazing, what I was able to learn from those guys that were at the top of their game. So that was the advice he gave me. I took it, and I think where I am now is a true test to what he said is definitely paid off.
You mentioned just earlier that you've recently gotten engaged. You and The Rock must have a bit of a side bet now for who's going to make the first fourth-generation superstar.
I think he'll probably beat me at that. It'll probably be a few years before I think about having kids. The girl I'm with, Samantha is her name. I'm definitely in love, of course, and it's the greatest time of my life right now. But I think with the traveling and everything that comes with this business that I'm in, I think I'd like to be around for the child as it's growing, or children, whatever happens, and definitely when my schedule lightens up, then I think a fourth-generation superstar will be in the making.
You're an OVW graduate, along with John Cena, Batista, and many others. Did your time there build strong camaraderie with those guys that continues today?
Definitely. We all, like the list of guys you just said, of course, we've all done well. There's, with Brock, included, there's, 4 world champions, right there that they were able to put out of that school down there. And that's just an amazing thing to have happen. It's to be a part of that the alumni, of OVW, that graduating class, you'd say, which was, about 10 of us that made it up, with, of course, Shelton being one of them, and, other guys. it's just it's great to be a part of that. You know, we were taught the right way. We were the few of that generation that I always say it that way, that was skipped, that didn't get to learn from the right group of guys. You know, we were taught the old school mentality, the old school psychology, with just the right mix of entertainment. You know, we all have our weak points, but I think our strong points overcome those, and we're all getting better. You know, we're the new wave of guys that 5 years from now people are gonna hopefully know as a household name.
From there, of course, you mentioned that you teamed up with Hunter and Ric Flair as part of Evolution. What do you think you learnt the most from those guys?
Well, with Ric Flair, you know, as far as being a heel or a bad guy, you know, it's tougher to learn any more from anybody else, you know, besides Triple H. So I was in there with two of the best heels in my mind and a lot of other people's minds in the business, you know. And I was not only that, but I was working with guys like Shawn Michaels, Goldberg, you know, guys that were on top, guys that I could learn from on the other side of the ring. So as far as what I learned, I don't know where to begin. You know, I learned, you know, from Rick, just that heel mentality and how to always be thinking and not, you know, have a mindset of what I'm going to do and just do that, but to like be out there and just be myself and just have confidence in what I'm doing, you know. And things like that are more important than, you know, how to execute a suplex, you know, perfectly, or how to make a power slam look more spectacular. You know, it's that psychology that I think a lot of guys that are my age breaking into the business don't really get, because they're not fortunate enough to learn from the right people.
Your hardcore match with Mick Foley at Backlash 2004 was a major turning point in your career. What went through your mind when you landed on those tacks?
Well, I had actually about 3 weeks before that match decided that that's something that I wanted to do in that match, was take that bump and attacks. And when I thought about it and I decided to do it and open my mouth about it, I don't think I had thought it through all the way. It seemed like as days drew near to that show, that Backlash, it was harder and harder to sleep at night. And by the time I landed on him, I was just so exhausted of just being so nervous. It was like, I'm doing this, you know. And when I hit, it was like, I mean, just picture like a belly flop into a pool, just like on razor blades, you know. Like it sucked. You know? It was like I went into shock for a second. Like I didn't feel anything at first, and then this big wave of like sharp pain, you know, hit me right away. Once my hands, you know, hurt the most, I think, because all the nerve endings in your hands. You know, I remember just looking at my hand and it was shaking, and I just saw the blood. It was like, you know, I got to land on my back, you know, 5 more times in this match, and I got 100 tacks sticking out of it, you know. So I was just, all kinds of things were going through my mind. If I'd hit bone, or was I going to be bruised or scarred, you know. So it was definitely a monumental turn in my career, that match, like you
said. The tacks in your forearms certainly didn't look like much fun.
No, I had them all over my ass. Like I sat up, and when I sat up, they all like dug into my butt. You know, I just had tacks in my ass, my back. I was a mess. It's hard to watch back, that's for sure.
Yeah. Soon after that, you claimed the World Heavyweight Championship and became the youngest champ in history. How do you look back on that match with Benoit and on that title run?
Well, you know, I'm very fortunate to have been able to work with Chris. And, you know, of course, being the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in history is, you know, such a great honor. You know, I think I deserved it, but I think that, you know, it was one of those things where they had the title on me for about 28 days, and which isn't a long run at all. But I think that claiming the title of the youngest champ ever, you know, was so big that the title run itself, you know, even though it was that short, you know, it was such a big point in my career, one of my favorite ever. You know, the emotions that went through me when I got my hand raised. You know, but I think the next time around, I'll definitely, as far as what I did during my title run, I think will be more impactful by far than what I did during my first title run.
How's your shoulder holding up?
It's great. You know, I've had surgery on both, but the one that I recently had surgery on is doing great. I just did therapy today, and I try to once a week. I see a masseuse, a chiropractor, an ART specialist, and a therapist all in one day, and it's all geared towards my shoulder because they're tricky. It's a tricky part of anyone's body. But I had kind of a degenerate kind of problem with my shoulder blades that caused. Basically, I got to keep them strong, keep my rotator cuff strong by doing different things. Pretty much every day, and then one day a week I get them stretched out, and that's my week. Keep my shoulders tied on.
Dr. Andrews seems to be quite a miracle worker for the WWE.
Yeah. And so many guys have had them. The broken necks. Like I feel. I start feeling sorry for myself. I need to be slapped. Like Edge. I think he was out with a broken neck. Came back, broke his hand, then broke his ankle, and then tore his groin, and this was all like back to back, poor guy, he worked through all that too, every day he could, he had a cast on or a brace on, and it just, you catch, he was healthy, I think, for 10 years or so, or 8 or 9 years, and then got hit with that string of injuries, so it's really just dumb luck, you just got to be prepared as much as you can, but just whatever, shit happens.
Yeah. It's widely expected that we'll see The Undertaker return and you two will have another showdown at Survivor Series. Will you be the man to put the final nail in the career of The Undertaker?
Well, I think I already did that.
Yeah.
I set him on fire, man. I've been hearing rumors that he might be hanging around somewhere, looking around like I didn't take care of him at No Mercy. But we'll just have to see. I don't know who I'm wrestling or facing at Survivor Series, but unless a miracle happens, I don't see it being him.
Beyond that, you must have your eyes on Batista's World Championship again.
Oh, hell yeah, man. And I haven't said this on air, I don't think, anywhere, but I'm like the last guy. I think I am the last person to beat Batista legitimately. I did it at New Year's Revolution in Puerto Rico last January. So I came up with Batista. I know his game. I know his tricks. He's a big boy, but I think I got the speed and the youth on my side. I got that drive that I don't think he possesses.
Who's the one legend that you'd love to get into the ring with?
Wow, I technically have already been in the ring with him, but it'd be my father. I love the guy, but I see him helping me as much as he can. And when I decide that, he's kind of too much of extra baggage, I think he might just have to be the next legend on my list. Don't tell him that.
Oh, absolutely not.
But
do you think he's taught you all the tricks?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to face my father one day. It'd be a good learning experience for him.
What about your contemporaries, whether they're WWE guys or TNA guys or wherever? Who would you like to work a program with that you haven't yet?
At TNA or
anywhere. TNA would be interesting.
Well, AJ Styles, I'd never been in the ring with him, but I'd see him do some amazing things, things that I could never dream of doing. I'd like to face him in the ring maybe, and when he jumps out of the ring, I just won't catch him. You know what I'm saying? He does some spectacular stuff, but I don't see why I should go out of my way to catch the guy when he's jumping off a ladder to the floor. I think I just let him bust his head, throw him in the ring, and pin him. But that's the old school mentality coming out of me. My dad didn't ever watch any tapes of my dad jumping off of ladders to the floor, and landing on anybody. And certainly not anyone going out of their way to catch him. But I think I got AJ figured out, man. I just won't catch him when he jumps on me.
If you never entered pro wrestling, what would you be doing today?
That's a very good question. Very good question. And that's a question I get asked often that I don't have an answer to. I guess I can't answer that, but you can go ahead and put in there that I can't. I'm not ashamed to say that I couldn't imagine doing anything else than what I'm doing now. I couldn't imagine.
Are you surprised that Christian didn't renew his contract?
Christian and I were friends. We didn't talk too much, but I knew enough to know that, and I'd been in the ring with him, of course, enough to know that he is a talented dude, man, and he can really have a good match with anybody. And I think he just felt as if he was capable of doing a lot more than what he was doing on the show. And whether he was frustrated with the company or himself or the writers or whatever it was, I think that, you know, one of his deals is he hasn't missed a show except for like about 3 months ago when he hurt his back wrestling RVD. He hasn't missed a show since then in 8 years with the company. And I think that right there, I think he's just burnt out. You know, I think him, just like Jericho, you know, a couple of years go by, maybe 6 months, a year, you know, they're going to know. People are going to want them back. I think it's just a matter of them going away, getting their head on, their head on straight, resting, and just getting that feel for it again. You know, they're going to get it. Once you do this, once you wrestle in front of a crowd and you get a response and you can manipulate people sitting in those seats that paid to see you, there's nothing else you can picture doing. Like I said before, I couldn't picture myself doing anything else. I don't think neither of them can either. And they just have enough money right now where they can take a year off, raise their child, you know, enjoy their wives, their lives, and come back and be more over than they were when they left, just because of that absence. You know, and I think that's a smart way to do it. You know, if you do it the right way, of course.
So the stars of SmackDown are going to be coming to Wellington next year. What can fans expect from a WWE live event?
Oh man, what can you expect? Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, if anyone's never been to a pro wrestling event, and of course the WWE hasn't been to New Zealand, I think, ever. This is the first time there.
That's
so
right.
That being said, you know, the fans that go to this event are going to feel an energy that they've never felt before. When you get that many people, when you sell out a stadium that big, which we plan on doing, and you have 40,000 fans screaming and chanting and standing and stomping their feet, clapping, you know, and being entertained, it's an atmosphere that you cannot compare to anything else. If it's rugby or if it's basketball, baseball, whatever sport anyone likes and goes and watches, like if it's baseball and you're hitting a home run, you know, those people are on their feet. Well, it's like we're hitting a home run every 30 seconds, you know. The people will not be upset with 1 minute that they're there. They'll be exhausted by the time it's over, you know, but the energy that we get from you guys and that we give to you guys, the fans, you know, like, it creates an adrenaline rush like no other, you know, and it's one of those things that you'll never forget being a part of.
Awesome. Well, we thank you very much for your time, Randy. We definitely look forward to seeing you in Wellington next March. Who knows, could be with that World Championship around your waist.
Got it. Hey, thank you very much for the time and the interview.
No worries. Thanks, mate.